Welcome to the show, everybody. This is Playback. My name is Nate.
My name is Brandon.
And this week on the show, we're doing, what is this, Reggae Summer episode 3?
3.
Of this current Reggae Summer series.
Yes.
Yeah, so we've done Peter Tosh, Legalize It. We did, what was the other one we did?
Jiminy Cliff.
Jimmy Cliff. That was my pick. I should know that. And this week, Brandon has chosen Right Time by the Mighty Diamonds.
Yes, man.
Brandon, what is Right Time by the Mighty Diamonds, and why did you pick it?
So, some albums that we do on this show, like, sort of, one of the reasons why we pick it to talk about is because it's like a great album that really requires some kind of analysis or some kind of investigation or like having somebody give you like some greater background history to it to really like kind of reveal and bring out what makes the album so special. That is not true about this album. I feel, at least to me, just hearing it once, it like fully shows you why it's so special, why it's so amazing.
Just right up top, if you haven't listened to last year's Wailing Souls Firehouse Rock episode or the 2/7 Clash episode, those two are good homework prerequisites for this episode, I would say.
Yes, yeah.
And the scientist interview as well. The interview we did with scientist. Has some probably good info that pertains loosely to what we're probably going to talk about with this album today too. Actually, it's stuff that like we go way deeper on it in those episodes and in that interview than we're going to go in this episode. Like, I have a feeling you, like me, I think we're just going to talk about the music and like how much we really just dug this album. Because like what you just said, you're so right. So I had never heard this before. This was like totally fresh listen for me. I was under the impression last year when you brought this up, because I'd never heard of it, I was like thinking to myself, this is going to be some deep cut like nerd shit that Brandon likes that's probably going to be cool, but is like probably like not something that maybe people are really familiar with, or like
not
like
accessible,
it's
very advanced level. Only reggae nerds would really enjoy listening to it. No,
like
it's the opposite.
I was really wrong. Like because I was just like you already said it. It's like self-evident. As soon as I put this on for the first time, I think I listened to it 4 times in a row that night.
Wow,
I was just like, oh, like it's just like a missing piece. Like it's like a missing puzzle piece of like I'll never go back to a time when this wasn't like a top 10 reggae album I've ever heard. Like it is that good. Like I could not believe how fucking good this was and how I'm so deep into like my reggae knowledge and like learning and loving reggae. And I felt like an idiot. I was like, wow, like this is, because it's so up my alley too. Like this is so like my kind of reggae and sound that I really like too. So,
well, man, I'm really glad to hear that. I'm really glad that you like it that much. Right? Top 10, right?
Top 10.
This is definitely in my top 10. I have a list like a note that I keep in my notes app. For whenever I happen to be having a conversation with someone and the topic of reggae comes up, and I tell them, they're always, oh, what do you do? I play reggae music. They're like, oh, that's cool. Do you have any recommendations? I keep this note. That was Nate's dub red wine pour. And the way that, and the Nate snort that he does when he's entertaining himself. That only happens when you love what you just did. But I keep this note of that is just for those moments when someone wants a recommendation, so I don't have to like, okay, let me, think about it, go through my mind, or like just verbally give it to them. I'm like, I'm just going to copy this and send it to you. And it's just a list of the greatest reggae albums. And this is pretty darn close to the top. This is like number 3 or 4 on the. They're not in order, but it was one of the first ones that I thought of when I sat down to make that note.
Like the way I would describe it to listeners, like okay, I love Lee Perry and the Black Ark sound. Okay, I love it, but like it's a very messy, sloppy, chaotic way of recording and treating music. Frankly,
it's imprecise.
It's the whims of like a very eccentric personality behind the console and behind the writing and like behind all the techniques that you would do, right? So the way I would describe this album is it's almost like if you took something like the Heptones and you maintained a lot of the best sonic like tastiness of Black Ark, but you kind of removed all the imperfection and you inserted perfection, right? You inserted like, care and like really diligent like mic technique and like, really, really well rehearsed music and like stuff that like Lee Perry would just kind of do by the seat of his pants, like in a cool way, because that's why we love him. But like,
right, and he was doing it on purpose.
On purpose,
it's an artistic choice.
Yeah,
the choice has control. To intentionally lose control.
Yes. To give way to the creative process in the way that he would. Love it. But it's something about this stuff reminds me. It has such a warm, almost phasery, that kind of warm phasery, super tape saturated Black Ark sound to it, which is amazing because I think if listeners remember back to the Wailing Souls episode last year, we talk about in that episode how this was the first album the Who Kim brothers recorded at Channel One that actually kicked all the Channel One shit off.
That actually came out well.
Yeah, that actually came out well. Yeah. And it's amazing to me because like of how much it reminds me of Black Ark stuff and how little it actually reminds me of the stuff that Channel One is really famous for. And I'm talking specifically like production wise.
The quote unquote Channel One sound, which would become a very established thing in years after this.
But was like the next generation of Channel One people.
This doesn't sound like that.
It does not.
And we will get into that.
Yeah. Which is like a testament to Channel One. Like that it within the breadth of its, short history, it managed to, encompass a sound like this and then develop its own thing that it became known for. Because if it only ever sounded like this, I mean, they like kind of perfected the sound here. Like it already is like everything you would want.
But like you say, this doesn't sound like that Junjo Law's Channel One sound.
Not at all.
Later, it is like between that and the Black Ark sound on the spectrum.
Yeah,
where this is organic.
Right? Am I crazy?
No.
Do you hear that too? Like that was all I could think about.
Yes, you're totally right. Because this is organic like the Black Ark, but but this album sounds very clean.
Yeah.
And very consistent. Also, another hallmark of the Black Ark sound is there's such chaos and changing of the circumstances in the studio to the point where each song sounds different,
right?
In certain ways, you look at like "Heart of the Congos," which was recorded at Black Ark. Like there's really marked differences technically and sonically
from song to song.
From song to song.
Yeah.
This album is very consistent.
Yeah.
Even though by looking at, which is another thing that we'll talk about too, by looking at the
players,
the credits of the musicians. It looks like this album was recorded in several different sessions.
Yep.
But
you would never tell.
You can't exactly.
You
it sounds like it was all recorded on one day. Very consistent, very clean. And that cleanliness and consistency is something that you would associate on the other side of the spectrum with the Channel 1 sound. But that sound doesn't have the organicness. That sound sounds like a machine. It sounds so like so put together and so defined, and every sound has like borders around it and a fence around it, and it sounds amazing. And it's my favorite reggae sound, but this is more free than that. This is more organic and not as corralled sounding.
It is, because I completely agree with you. You're totally right. But you hear the beginnings of that strict isolationist kind of instrument by instrument treatment that they get. Yeah. They wind up developing later. Because this is like famously this is when Channel 1 got the 16 track, right? So it's like this is when they were able to do that. They started down that path like right here where they're
that's exactly what I was going to bring up. Is I think that the reason for that is because of the technology. Yes. Is because what we're hearing is how much nicer the gear was at Channel 1 at the studio than at the other studios. So they weren't yet employing it like how they would by maximalizing the settings that they could get out of every gate and every EQ, and mainly talking about the gates.
Yeah, they weren't doing that
and just how hard they can slam the sound of the snare and the sound of the kick and the sound of the hi-hat into each track and everything. They're not doing that yet.
Right.
But it still is this much nicer, higher quality equipment that they're using.
Yeah. Yeah.
And treating it more gently.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting. And so that, going back to what is this album and why did I pick it, that really is the main reason. Not only is it's just so good musically, but the way that this sounds, it's very unique.
Yes.
You know, a lot of reggae recordings from the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, they... most of them will generally kind of fall into certain kind of like production buckets.
Yes.
You know, any one given recording really belongs with another family of a lot of other recordings that sound just like that same style.
Yeah.
Not even talking like musically, what they're doing musically, but really talking about the production and the engineering, you know, the sound quality of it.
Yeah.
And this album, it just like exists on its own.
Yeah. I think you're right.
You know?
You're right. Because it has like that organic beauty of a Black Ark, but it does have the foundations of like the crazy precision that they would be famous for later down the road. So yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. But I mean, I think we're also kind of bearing the lead a little bit. It's also just like maybe some of the most beautiful vocal trios I've ever heard, some of the best songs I've ever heard on a reggae album. Like, it is just like top to bottom. Like, I was fucking floored by this album.
It's got everything.
It does.
And like how you talked about the experience of hearing the beginning of it for the first time.
Yeah.
I had a very similar experience myself. The person who turned me onto this album was Ryan Basilio, of Ryan Basilio and the Roosters fame. He's a great reggae singer from Hawaii, and I played in his band for a long time.
Yeah, we got a split LP on our Bandcamp with Ryan.
Friend of the show, friend of the band.
Yep.
Sometime collaborator. And I was over at his house and he put this record on and I had never heard it before.
Yeah.
And he had the LP and he put it on. And yeah, man, the snare intro with that spring, the sound of the spring in there, the bloom, bloom. And then as soon as the beat drops, I literally, it was like, I just like stop. It's one of those things where you just stop and you're like, wait, everybody shut up. What is that?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah.
Like I've only had that experienced
Couple
just a few times in
Yeah.
my entire life. The way that this album starts.
Yeah. A 3-minute song that feels like it's 60 seconds long because it's so good.
I like this album because it's a different kind of ghetto music with no tough edge.
Yeah.
There is no, if you think of some of the great reggae songs that are just like, that really like how the ghetto anthems from Jamaica, like this album has no get up, stand up.
Yeah, it's not angry. It's not angry music.
There's no chase the devil.
No, it's not angry. It
doesn't go there.
It is very sweet for the most part. It's very sweet and like tender and like happy. Even if some of the stuff they sing about is kind of, you could put in those buckets of like a get up, stand up or whatever.
Yes,
it's the way that they approach the material and the way they deliver the material is completely different. It's like really like wistful and sweet and like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like this album is infinitely re-listenable. Like,
I get tired of albums after a while. I've never come even close to getting tired of this album.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, it pains me to have to do this, but I have to begrudgingly accept that Brandon picked a good album. Maybe for the first time. Possibly for the first time.
Did you hear that? I'm right. Nate is wrong.
The few things I know about them was that they started in the 60s and they were kind of brought up in like the Motown kind of school of thought of like that was kind of their big inspirations were like, Temptations, fucking those kind of big cool Motown vocal groups or whatever. Always kind of surprises me like when I read stuff like that with groups like this. I mean, it's not surprising really, but it's like, I don't know how to put it. It's almost like a shame where I'm like, okay, they started singing together in the late 60s and their first album comes out in 1976. Like, what the fuck? That's such a long time for that time period, to go without having a record in 1970 or something, like.
Yeah, because they were around that entire time, singing that entire time, and they couldn't get a shot. Nobody gave them a shot. I mean, they did some smaller recordings with another producer. I can't remember. It's like Ja Lloyd or something like that. I think it was Ja Lloyd, but nothing really hit big. Nothing to the point where they could get their own. Full record, their own LP. And it wasn't until I don't know every detail of this story, but apparently Virgin Records came in to kind of copy what Chris Blackwell was doing, right? To try to ride on those coattails and came in and signed a bunch of artists.
Yeah.
Almost all of them became big known artists. They're all famous now.
Did you hear about like how they did it? How Virgin did it? It's like
how did they do it?
So apparently, and this is according to a book called "This Is Reggae Music" by Lloyd Bradley, which I haven't read, but I've
heard of this book.
I've just read some excerpts from it. Apparently, Virgin Records they set up at a Sheraton hotel, like in I don't know, in like a banquet hall or something like that kind of thing.
Okay.
In Kingston.
Okay.
With like it was like a $100,000 like thing. Like we have $100,000. We're gonna sign X amount of groups and reggae artists or whatever. And it was like a cattle call type thing where people just came through and
line up and sing.
And at the end of the day, they signed Mighty Diamonds, Prince Farai, Johnny Clark, and Big Youth from that.
You see?
Yeah.
Yeah. They that's what I was talking about. It was like famous names.
Yeah.
So Okay,
but that's what they did. They just all in one go. They just gobbled up all their whole fucking roster practically.
Yeah. If you don't know any of those artists that Nate just said, you need to check out, what did you say? Johnny Clark, Big Youth, Prince Far Eye.
Yes.
Legends.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mighty Diamonds was one of them. And so this album is that first record that they got from that deal, right? So,
yeah.
I mean, and as we know from, the video documentation that people did in Jamaica at the time, including The Harder They Come and other documentaries and other movies and stuff from the time, like these kind of cattle call things that's not out of the ordinary. Like that's the way that the Jamaican music industry worked. There were many producers, many people with recording studios and recording labels. And that was like a big part of those producers' like daily routine is singers come by and sing for you for a shot to record something.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure Mighty Diamonds were on this
this track trajectory.
Yeah. Like
or circuit, so to speak.
The circuit. Thank you. That's the word I'm trying to think of. And it didn't work for them until that table at the Sheraton.
Yeah. And I mean, just to tack onto what you're saying, like think about what we just talked about last episode with Jimmy Cliff. It's like that was a thing you could do. That was a path. You could go sit outside the ice cream parlor of the guy who has a recording studio and who's got in with music, and you just pester him until you fucking get in the room. You just got to get in the room.
That's how you do it. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying in 2026 in America that's how you do it. I don't know if it is or not.
No.
I mean, hey,
that might work for like Twitch streamers.
Yeah. I don't know, but we do know it worked at this place at this time.
Yeah.
That was a viable.
It was the right time. It was the right time.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say the name the Mighty Diamonds. Not only are they just a name that kind of gets passed around in conversations about reggae, but their most famous thing that they ever did is not on Right Time. Right Time is the second most famous recording of theirs. Have you ever heard the song Pass the Coochie? Yeah?
Pass the coochie on the right hand side.
Left hand side, but yes.
Whatever.
Yes.
I don't do that. I don't pass no coochies, dude. I'm a good boy. I drink red wine on my podcast.
red wine. Yeah, you're more a UB40 guy. So
yeah. So that's them.
That's them. Pass the Coochie is Mighty Diamonds.
Wild.
That's their most famous song.
Which, tell me this. This is going to be a real dumb guy question. Okay. Became Pass the Dutchie, which people would probably be even more familiar with.
Yes. That song is most famous by being essentially covered by the little British kids named Musical Youth.
That's right.
And Coochie was changed to Dutchie to Pass the Dutchie.
Pass the Dutchie.
This generation rules the nation.
Right. Yeah. Which is like a crazy famous song.
Very famous song, yes.
Like in today's day and age, that song would become like a meme. Like it would be like a meme song.
Oh, yeah.
It would be like I don't know.
Like Baby Shark or something.
Yeah. I was thinking of like Gangnam Style or something. It would
yeah.
It would be like the Gangnam Style of its day.
Yes. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. That's wild. I did not know that. That's crazy.
Pass the Coochie, and that's later. Pass the Coochie's from like 1980. So this is the album for the real reggae knowers, the real reggae lovers.
Absolutely.
It's all about this album. This is just. I mean, just look at the titles. Right Time, Why My Black Brother Why, Shame and Pride, Gnashing of Teeth, Them Never Loved Poor Marcus, I Need a Roof,
Go Seek Your Rights,
Go Seek Your Rights, Have Mercy,
Africa,
Natural Natty. Like it's what were we saying? There was some other album that we were talking about recently that it's like a greatest hits album.
Yeah, yeah. I can't. Like I said, I listened to one of their follow. I think it's like their follow up to this one, and it's so good. It sounds fantastic. I have a feeling it was also a Channel One thing. It sounds like it. It sound like the sound of it is exactly like this.
Okay. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Planet Earth.
Planet Earth
and Planet Mars dub. Okay. Yes. I have heard that. It is legit.
Super good, but it's not as good as this.
Okay,
but
this
not
is
a lot of things
interesting
are,
because their album after this, so Planet Earth is their second after this.
Okay,
the album directly after this is a very strange one.
Is this the one you were telling me really like where they went to Muscle Shoals or something?
Yeah,
or where did they go?
They went to New Orleans.
New Orleans.
They recorded it in New Orleans with it's an American producer. It's like Alain Toussaint or something.
Alain Toussaint, yeah.
Alain Toussaint.
Was it actually him?
He produced it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
that's wild. So I mean, if you don't know Alain Toussaint,
his name is with somebody else,
like Cajun jazz, like Zydeco,
New Orleans, dude,
New Orleans
right?
shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So their follow up to this album
is it Ice on Fire?
It's Ice on Fire.
Wow.
So it's Mighty Diamonds singing just like how they do here, doing their thing, but it's this like Zydeco band backing them.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
I think that ties.
I personally don't like it. I don't think it's very good.
I think think about the thing that all three of the albums we've covered this Reggae Summer have in common. They're all like weird, failed, aborted attempts at like, how the fuck do we make money off this shit? It's like record labels and companies.
Welcome to the music industry, man.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Where it's like, like last season, the first year of Reggae Summer, it's like, someone like Bob Marley, it's like effortless. It's like, he's like a money printer, right? And so it's like, there's this mad rush by all these producers and labels and people around the world who are like, how the fuck do we get our Bob Marley? How do we sell him? How do we sell it? How do we cash in? And it leads to a lot of really weird shit. Sometimes it works really good. Let's put Jimmy Cliff in Scarface. That's awesome. That worked really good.
Or let's bring Gregory Isaacs to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Let's bring him to Compass Point.
Yeah.
And you get fucking Night Nurse out of that.
Sure.
Yeah. Sometimes it hits.
Yeah. But then sometimes it's like, okay, we signed these guys at the hotel in the hotel lobby for $5, and oh my God, this record's good, and it blew up. And it kind of do well or no?
No, it did very well.
It did very well,
a
right?
Huge hit in Jamaica and a huge hit in
critically.
the UK.
It was like really, really well regarded.
Yeah, no, this is an album that was appreciated in its time. Yes.
Sometimes you get weird but cool ideas to try to launch your superstar, like Jimmy Cliff and Harder They Come, right? And sometimes it's like, oh my God, we found this great vocal trio. They sound amazing. How do we market them to a wider audience? Let's call Alain Toussaint. Kind of on paper sounds like a really fucking cool idea.
Yeah, right.
Honestly,
it's one of these many gambles that they take. I mean, even putting Jimmy Cliff in the movie is one of those gambles. It could have been really lame, but it wasn't. It was great. Yeah, right. Let's try him out with Alain Toussaint. Let's try New Orleans. And
like,
it didn't work.
Could have been like a weird pseudo Graceland situation.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like
who knows? Because on paper, before you hear Graceland.
It sounds stupid.
Yeah, I wouldn't fault you for thinking like
that's a bad idea.
That sounds like this is going to sound really dumb. You should just stay in New York.
That was our second episode on the show, and I had never heard Graceland. I'd heard that it was amazing.
You should start listening to good albums, man.
No. I did have that fear. I was like, this sounds like boomer bad ideas, like a bad boomer idea. And arguably,
it is now because it came out in '86. But but then you listen to the product.
It's amazing.
It's like, this is actually fucking genius.
But it's also like that is kind of an exception to that rule. Like typically, it doesn't work out that well. And I think, like you were saying, Mighty Diamonds, put them in New Orleans, not quite
It
the
didn't
thing.
work.
Yeah,
That's what makes
not the
gambling
fit.
so exciting. Is that you're probably going to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mighty Diamonds is a vocal trio. So this is our opportunity. We also, I think, started to talk about vocal trios last year when we were talking about the Wailing Souls and Culture.
Lots of good Jamaican
and
reggae
the
trios.
Congos. So
trios.
we talked about 3 Jamaican vocal trios and kind of got into how prominent that format of an artist is in this time in the Jamaican record industry. These guys. So this is it consists of Bunny, Judge, and Tabby Diamond are the 3. Tabby is the lead singer.
Okay.
So that's the guy whose voice you will just never forget for the rest of your life after listening to this, and just gets into your soul. He's the lead singer.
You know what I love about Tabby's voice too is it's not super showy. It's not like pretentious. He's like Jimmy Cliff is like a powerhouse singer. Right?
He's a diva. Like
he's
we
a
talked
diva.
about before.
Yeah, you're right.
Yes.
He is kind of a diva.
Not meaning that he's like an asshole and super picky. Meaning the way he sings. Like, he has a diva voice. He's that kind of an artist,
and his ability as well. He just like has like the range and like vocal ability that is just like
virtuoso,
unapproachable. You know, like it would be hard to like cover a Jimmy Cliff song, for example. You know what I mean? Like unless if you're trying to like do what he does, like it would be like really challenging because of how good of a singer he is. But like this guy is as good of a singer in every way, but more in the way of like his voice is just beautiful. He just has a gorgeous lilting, like intoxicating way about how he sings.
It's more, to me, it's more about the way he sings, the way he does it, like his manner of presentation.
It's very like romantic.
Yeah.
Like, it's
See, this is Rasta music with either very little or maybe no militance at all to it.
Right, which is funny because this album gets credit for like the militant rockers sound. It got tagged with that. This is not militant or rockers to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Have you seen that though? That's like a thing. This album gets credited for.
People say it's. I don't know what AI came up with that and started it in that repeating cycle that like it got stuck in the game of telephone at one point or another, and people just keep repeating it.
Maybe when this,
it's not how it is, man.
Maybe like when this first came out, it was credited with like having a rockers sound. But like, okay, we should explain what is a rockers sound. A rockers sound is like, it's literally like a play on like a rock drum beat, like kick on 1 and 3, snare on 2 and 4. But you play reggae around it, right? And with it. But it's like if you took the drum beat in isolation, it sounds kind of like a rock drum beat in a weird way, but it's
right. Yeah, because you're finally, for the first time in Jamaican pop music, you're playing the kick drum on beat 1.
Yeah, exactly.
At the start of the measure, finally. And you're not doing a cross stick thing. You're actually hitting the snare in the same place that people hit the snare in a rock song.
Right. The whole album is almost all one. The whole album, Right Time, is almost all one drops.
Exactly.
And I don't think he hits the snare. It's all cross stick.
That's right.
And so, I don't know.
This is not a rockers. There's no
a rockers album.
Beat.
Yeah, I don't know why it gets credited with that.
I think there's a couple songs that include a kick drum on beat 1, but even then, it's a lot of times like it's withheld. So like it's sometimes there and sometimes not, like to give contrast, but which is not a rockers beat. Like go listen to Night Nurse. That's rockers.
Dude,
that
seriously.
is, there's no variation. When it truly is a rockers beat, it's not a give and take.
Right.
That is the beat.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I'm even reading specifically the source I'm reading is they talk about how the first track, Right Time, is like the rockers track. It's a one drop with a double cross stick. Which is sick. Yes. It's really sick, and it was super innovative and cool, like to the point where I watched this interview with Sly Dunbar, and he said when when Right Time, the tune came out, when people heard it.
That's the drummer.
The drummer, Slide Dunbar, rest in peace. When the tune first came out, people were like, how did you do that? Like, is that like an effect on your kit? Is that like some kind of delay or something? And it's like, no, he's just doubling up the cross stick or whatever. But like, it's a one drop. It's like it's like an aggressive one drop, but it's a one drop. It's not a rockers thing. And like, we're being nerds about this because Black Market Dub, our band, like almost all of our music is rockers. Like
that's true.
A ton of our shit is rockers.
Heavily using a rockers drum beat.
Yeah.
A one drop drum beat, by the way, if you don't know, is the one that is like most traditionally associated with reggae, where the drummer doesn't play any of the big drums or the major drums of his kit on when you count 1, 2, 3, 4. It's all on the other beat, where you normally you play the kick drum where everybody else in American music would normally play the snare. Mm-hmm. That's a one drop, and so that's the old school Jamaican style, and that is still what is all over this album.
Yeah, it's like the whole thing.
The whole thing.
The whole thing.
Yes.
Like there's not other stuff really. There's not even like steppers.
He doesn't even play steppers,
which you could say is more of a militant reggae style,
right?
Than what we have here.
That's the third major one where you play the kick drum on all 4 beats. You just doom, 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 doom.
Yeah, could be open snare, could be cross stick, but it's still a steppers thing.
That's not on this album.
Not on this one either.
Yeah, so this is Rasta music with little to no militance at all.
Yeah.
The vibe, not only in how the musicians play it and how it's recorded, but primarily the way that they sing it.
Yeah.
The way that Tabby and Bunny and Judge sing it, it's way more of like a praise and worship vibe.
Yeah.
Like
bordering on some like indictment-y kind of songs like you've brought up in this season, which I really like. Okay. I've loved thinking of it in that framework. Yes. Now I'm always going to like think of reggae through that lens now that you've pointed that out. Super indictment-y. Yeah.
But
I would say this has that, but not in a really angry way. Like it is kind of like, there's some stuff where it's like, you should do this and that, but
when you read the lyrics alone, they are just as militant as anything else is going to be.
Right.
But
the delivery, though.
It's the delivery.
Yeah.
So, okay. These lyrics come from one of the most like beautiful and melodic and gently, just like a sweet singing vibe that you could think of. When the judges of judgment forward in front of man, he and she will be judged according to the word they have done. Not even the suckling shall not escape. When the earth have been cleansed, only righteous will be standing on the land. So no matter what you do, only good works shall see you through.
Wow.
It's
pretty biblical.
Yes.
Fire and brimstone.
Militant.
Yeah, fire and brimstone shit.
But those are the lyrics to Gnashing of Teeth.
Right.
Which even the title
sounds really gnarly.
Very gnarly.
Yeah.
And the meaning of it, the weeping and wailing and moaning of gnashing of teeth, that's what the damned will be doing when they find out that they are being denied entry to heaven.
Yeah.
It's super militant. But when you listen to song,
it's so sweet and like it sounds like a love song. It sounds like like a 50s like bebop ballad. It's so sweet. It sounds like you know what I mean? Like it,
yes. To the point where, speaking of Ryan Basilio, who is a lover of this album, he wrote a version and that we played as the Roosters where the lyrics went weeping and wailing until you come back to me, girl. And the music was the
because
same.
It fits the music better.
Because it fucking fits and it makes perfect sense.
That's so funny.
And it was an amazing song.
It's so good. Wow.
And it's a love song about like it about what this actually sounds like.
Yeah,
which
totally.
is like, you're gone. I miss you. I won't feel right until you come back.
Right.
You know, like it.
Like imagine that.
Yeah.
But it's about burning in hell and dying.
Yeah, which is what the actual song is about.
What the actual song's about, which is so good. Holy fuck,
dude!
That's so crazy.
It's a trip. This album is trippy as hell.
I don't want to say this is it's not a critique. It's not a critique, but I guess one could make the critique that like there is that like disconnect between the material and what it's about and the way it's delivered. Yeah. It's a little bit it's a little jarring, I guess, you know, especially Gnashing of Teeth. It's like it sounds so sweet and like it sounds like someone falling in love. That's what the feeling it evokes.
Yes.
It's like a sweet, like, I love you girl song. And if you turn your brain off, that is the feeling you're going to have evoked from it. But when you read the lyrics like Brandon did, it's literally about dying and burning in hell and being tortured by hell demons or something.
Yes.
It's fucking...
And it's also interesting, too, because look at the cover. Oh, by the way, great album cover.
Wild
alert.
Album cover. Yeah, wild
great
album
cover photo alert.
Yeah. I
fucking love the picture of these guys.
It's awesome.
And it really evokes that you know, middle road between organic and real and untouched, but also very clean and produced, just like the music is.
Yeah.
Like the lighting, the backlight that's behind them. It's so classic.
And angelic. It makes them look like they're like in heaven or something.
But,
and also the really not subtle, but the Mighty Diamonds is spelled out in like rhinestone diamonds.
Spelled in diamonds.
It's good stuff.
It's super
very
dope.
Good stuff.
But why I want to point it out is how many dreadlocks are on that.
That is
on
fucking
those heads.
true, man. These are afros, if anything.
That's right. These
Baby
guys.
Ones,
so
maybe.
So Tabby and Bunny would later in life grow dreads, but Judge actually is the only one. He sings lead on Go Seek Your Rights, the falsetto one. So he's the only guy who has a separate lead from Tabby. But he never grew dreads. He's still alive right now, and he never grew dreads. I saw them live.
You saw Mighty Diamonds?
I saw Mighty Diamonds live in Hermosa Beach. This was back when there were only two of them. So there was a period of time where Bunny couldn't tour with them anymore.
Right.
Due to like
he got sick or something. Yeah.
Exactly. And so it was Tabby and Judge, and I was expecting to see some like way more natty, rootsy looking dudes.
No, they look the same.
I did.
They look the same.
Especially Judge. He was dressed like he was like a ska musician.
Totally.
Or like a rock steady musician. You know, he was like wearing like a vest and like a nice hat, short hair, and all this stuff. And but they're
which
like
I think is
one
really
of the most
cool.
Rasta ass content to their music. It's fascinating.
I think that's really cool too, because like, look, I'm not saying this about any artist in particular, but I do sometimes get the feeling like when I see like kind of legacy reggae acts, it's not that they're not super Rasta. It's not that they don't buy that or whatever, but it does feel like sometimes they play it up. Like it's like part of the persona, the stage presence, the costumes, the pageantry, right? Like they play that, the look of it up like quite a bit sometimes on stage. And it's cool because when I started watching, kind of later footage of these guys, it's like, yeah, they're just themselves. You know what I mean? Like they are really authentic dudes.
Yes.
And like chill dudes. Like we were talking before the show started. Like one of my bigger takeaways from just like trying to do some research on them was just that they were like very mild-mannered, nonchalant, friendly, good guys. Yes. Just good dudes. And you pointed out, I didn't realize this, they're like kind of one of the only bands where there wasn't like some ridiculous drama.
Yeah.
They were chill.
There was never beef between them.
Yeah, they just made music together forever, and it was cool.
They didn't split up over royalties or money, which is a really, unfortunately, a very common thing to have happened with these Jamaican vocal trios.
Yep.
You know, a lot of them changed members over time, or people quit, or they disbanded, or stuff. You know, it's really common.
Yeah.
These guys always stayed together.
Yep.
Tabby and Bunny both passed away in 2022. Tabby, it's a really sad story, man. Tabby was murdered.
Oh.
2022. He was hanging out just like on a street corner in Waterhouse District in Kingston, which go listen to our interview with Scientist, and he will tell you about Waterhouse and how rough of a spot that it can be. So 2022, Tabby's hanging out on, chilling out in front of like some store or something like that, hanging out with friends. And allegedly, the reason why they shot him was because it was like a retaliation against something that his son did.
Wow.
They wanted to get revenge on his son.
Wow.
So they killed him.
Wow. What did his son do? Was it like drugs or something?
Word on the street is that his son killed somebody.
Oh, wow.
And so to retaliate, they killed Tabby.
Wow.
I don't know if that is true.
Who knows?
But
Who knows?
And then soon after that, Bunny passed away from
health complications,
his health stuff that had been keeping him from touring for a long time. So there's only Judge now.
Wow.
Rest in peace, those guys. Rest in peace, Mighty Diamonds.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, but by the time that they, were no longer a group in 2022, I mean, they were together for like over 50 years. Attempting production.
Doing production.
Doing a good job at talking about production. Okay. The main thing that stands out to me about the sound of this album is its simplicity.
Yes.
It is a small and intimate ensemble of musicians.
Yeah.
This is not maximalist.
No, but not incomplete either.
Right. It
has all the pieces you need for a reggae ensemble, but it is over the top.
It is a study in minimalism.
I would say like Peter Tosh, the Legalize It was like, there's like a lot going on there. Like,
and Jimmy Cliff had the string overdubs and the fucking,
yeah. Borderline goofball production.
And wait, what about the albums that we talked about last year? Exodus.
Yeah.
Night Nurse.
Totally.
2/7's Clash.
Night Nurse.
Okay. All right, fine. Night Nurse is kind of minimalist too.
Kinda. It's just
but
clean.
That's that's middle of the road.
Sure.
2/7's Clash with the synthesizers and the this and the that. Third World, 96 Degrees in the Shade. Sounds like a friggin' Pink Floyd album.
It really does.
Okay. Yeah. This one, dude, listen to the song Gnashing of Teeth that we talked about. In this recording, there is a drummer, there's bass, there's one piano.
Yep.
And the three singers.
Yeah, you're right.
That's all.
Yeah. And I would even say in that song in particular, you're correct that it is literally minimalist. Like there's like not a lot there, but the rest of the album, even when there is more substantively like, musically going on, like there might be guitars and piano and organ.
There's a guitar.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
But the way it's like mixed and handled is it just in your brain, it's just the skank part.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it doesn't feel like overwhelming. Like there's like a whole bunch of shit going on. It's all like blended down. It's like mixed down and blended down in a way where it's like, it's just the skank part. Right. And in this Gnashing of Teeth track, it's like, it's just upright piano or something. but like the effect kind of feels the same, even when there's more to it.
You don't even notice unless you pay attention to it.
Totally.
Okay, because you can't feel, it doesn't feel off. It doesn't feel that anything is missing because the piano is, they're playing a bubble on the piano. They're playing what you would normally do on an organ, the
which
bocampo,
is so nice.
Bocampo,
which is so nice. A
It's
bubble
so
on a piano is so tight. Something we never do. We never do that, and it's so nice.
The main reason why I almost never, pretty much never do that when I'm tracking on something is because I don't think that it sounds good enough.
You don't have a real piano.
Using a synthesized upright piano.
Agreed.
It only really is able to carry that part like this when it's a real piano.
Yeah, it's like charming.
And because I'm not good enough at playing it, like how this gentleman is who's playing it. So
probably fucking Ansel Collins or somebody.
Exactly. Exactly. So playing the keyboards, we got Ansel Collins on here and we got Ossie Hibbert. Two of the best Jamaican keyboard players to ever live.
It's either the best one or the other best one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's no Jackie Me Too.
That's true. There's Jackie Me Too. But he's kind of more organ though.
Yeah, right, and he didn't get in the mix in this Roots stuff. He went off on his own.
He was the prior.
He moved to Canada. He was living in Canada during this time. So you got that gnashing of teeth has no guitars, no percussion, no horns, and there are a lot of songs as you go through this that just have a different configuration of these very few elements. They all have some, but I don't think any have all. You know what I mean?
So I was going to say, speaking of percussion, we have to shout out the perennial, probably musician we've talked about most on the show, who's appeared on more albums than anyone else ever on the show.
That's right.
Sticky Thompson plays percussion on this album.
Plays percussion on this.
Almost like he was the only guy who could play tambourine on the whole island or something. It's fucking crazy. He's on so much shit.
It is. It's crazy. Number 2 most appearances on Playback
probably
podcast.
Sly and Robbie at this point.
Which at like 3 or 4.
Yeah, but Sticky Thompson is on like 7.
He's
probably on every album from last year and most of the albums from this year so far.
But he showed up on albums that were not even in Reggae Summer.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, the man is
Sticky Thompson. Learn how to play tambourine, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, he's a great tambourinist.
I mean, I think that's a real unfair distillation of what he adds. He's clearly a fucking awesome, amazing, dynamic percussionist. Is really the truth. The reason the rhythm section fucking lights up on everything that he plays on is because he's fucking awesome. He accentuates the rhythm section in a way that would be lesser than if it was somebody else, I'm sure.
Exactly. I mean, that's the reason why all these recordings, they would just feel right with that tambourine gluing them together. It's because it's not just any person doing it. You know?
We should also highlight fucking Vin Gordon and Tommy McCook are on this album too, playing horns. Correct me if I'm wrong. Tommy McCook definitely Scotalites. Vin Gordon also in the Scotalites, I want to say, or am I wrong about that?
Yes, Vin Gordon is the dude who took over from Don Drummond.
Right. Okay, so he wasn't original Scotalites trombonist, but he was the next guy.
He's baby Don Drummond. But Don Drummond, his career with the Scotalites is very short-lived.
Right.
So if you don't know, the Scotalites is
we need to do an episode on the Scotalites.
Yes,
probably next summer.
Next summer, yeah. The Scotalites is possibly the most important
band,
historically important Jamaican band in the history of Jamaican music.
Yeah,
because they were essentially the first ska band. Yeah, and they were the one and only backing band for the entire
ska era.
Yeah, for the entire genre of ska for a period of time. Right. Yeah, and so the members of this band are very significant and like immortalized people because
every single member of the Scottalites is like the Keith Richards or Paul McCartney or fucking whatever of ska and reggae.
Yeah, because they're the originators of it.
Yeah,
and some of the they're all prominent members, but the horn players. So you had Tommy McCook was one of the guys who played tenor saxophone. Mm-hmm. Okay, and he was one of the like main songwriters too. So he's on Right Time. He's on this album, and there was the trombone player of the Scottalites, a guy named Don Drummond. And so during that first period, as my understanding is, Don Drummond was like the main songwriter,
the guy, the arranger. He did everything.
And the arranger, everything.
He was like the
boss.
leader of the band.
Yes, and in this like year and a half, I think it was literally that short that he had with this band. He has like over 1,000 compositions to his name.
Yeah.
And also what's nuts is the life story of Don Drummond and the reason why he was not in the Scottalites anymore. So Don Drummond suffered from some very severe mental issues and like schizophrenia and stuff like that. And he like went off and like trapped his wife in their house and like murdered her.
Okay, I did hear about this a long time ago. Oh my God, yes. Yeah. Wow.
And that's why he was not in the Scottalites anymore.
Right.
And this happened in like 1964.
Right.
Like in the height of the Scottalites being a thing. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And then they were like, Vin.
Yeah. So Vin Gordon, who played, so the reason why we say all that, Vin Gordon is the guy who took over trombone for him, and he plays on this album.
Wow.
Yeah. And there's also...
I love. I just to add on to it. I love that the horn players of the Scottalites had this kind of a second life with like roots and Rasta stuff, like reggae and dub and like they kept going. They were still in super high demand even after like we're like 2-3 genre cycles past where they were like really relevant. Like. Yes. They were still super. You still see Tommy McCook is fucking everywhere in the 70s. He's on so many of these records. He's probably been on several of the records we've already talked about. We just kind of have glossed over it because he's fucking everywhere. He's always on shit.
Yeah, Tommy McCook is like the freaking. Oh God, no, I can't think. This is how much I know about jazz. Who's like the major jazz tenor saxophone player? What's the guy's name?
Miles Davis.
Didn't Miles Davis played alto?
No, he played trumpet.
Oh, he played trumpet. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. No. Who's Sonny Rollins?
Okay. Yeah.
This is how much we know about jazz.
I was going to say
Tommy McCook is like the Sonny Rollins of Jamaica. But we can't forget about the third horn player, Herman Marcus.
Okay.
Also.
I don't know much about.
Okay. He's on all this. He wasn't in the Scottalites, but he's in all this shit too, man.
Yeah.
I mean, well, anyway, Tommy McCook and Herman Marcus, they are just for a second they're in the movie Rockers.
Right. Yes.
You remember in the very, very beginning when Horsemouth is like walking through the yard in front of his house, and there's just the horn players standing around in a circle playing Sada Masagana.
Yeah.
Tommy McCook and Herman Marcus are two of the sax players who are standing there playing.
And I'm seeing in the King James version of Wikipedia, as Brandon likes to say, he was like a official member of the official. What does that mean, really? The Revolutionaries and the Upsetters, which were rotating lineups of musicians, so it doesn't matter. But
so this lineup, so if you bust out the King James version of Wikipedia and you look at the musician lineup of this album, you'll see
this is the Revolutionaries. This is basically
exactly. This is the beginning of the Revolutionaries.
Yeah.
So you'll see there's multiple guitar players, multiple keyboard players, multiple drummers, multiple bass players.
Yep.
Because this was done in different sessions. And so I don't believe it was yet at this stage, but it was soon after this at Channel One, this recording studio where this was recorded. Channel One did what basically every other recording studio in Jamaica did, is come up with a name for the house band.
I see.
And so that's going to be the name of who's the backing band on their tracks that day, and who's in that band. What qualifies the membership of being in that band? Well, it's if you're there today playing. That's what it takes.
Yeah.
And it is a rotating thing that means next to nothing. So the Revolutionaries, not a fixed lineup.
Yeah.
And this
but kind of became a little more solid, right? Am I wrong about that?
Like I don't think so.
No, not really. No,
I don't think so.
I was under the impression that the Revolutionaries eventually became like the Sly and Robbie band kind of thing. But I'm probably wrong about that. That was always my impression, I guess.
The name The Revolutionaries is connected to the Channel One studio and record label. So there were albums that were like recorded under the name, like for example, Sly and the Revolutionaries.
Sure,
there's like a lot of dub albums on
Maybe
that.
That's why I think that. I don't know.
It's literally just whoever. Like there were like 4 drummers that it could be. 4 bass players that it could be, 6 guitar players that it could be. It's just how it was.
It's just how it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because when, this is now like later years of Sly and Robbie, which I'm not as much of an expert on, but I think my understanding of it is that when Sly and Robbie left Channel One and, they were now superstars and touring around the world and like going on tours as Sly and Robbie with their own band, I'm pretty sure that they called that band Taxi Gang.
Oh, wild. Okay.
So that's their band.
That's cool.
Not affiliated
That's a great name.
with Channel One.
That is a fantastic name, the Taxi Gang.
Yeah. So and you had like Mikey Chung playing guitar and people like that.
Travis Bickle and the Taxi Gang, ladies and gentlemen, give them a round of applause.
How long did it take you to come up with that?
I had to Google it. You had to Google
what the name of the main character of Taxi Driver was?
Yes.
Oh my God. Nate.
I forgot.
There's another name that stands out on here. Another awesome dude in this lineup, a man named Tony Chin.
Tony Chin.
Yes.
Who I've met. I got to meet. I'm sure you've met many more times than I have.
I have. Yeah. Well, I don't know if I've met him many more times. I've met him a couple times. He lives in Southern California. He's active. Him, and Fully Fullwood and Santa Davis still perform as Soul Syndicate. I worked on a session with them with Brian Wallace.
That's what I did too. I did a session with. It was most of Soul Syndicate and Brian Dixon from the Agrolites engineering.
Ooh, lucky boy.
It was cool. It was really cool.
That's super cool.
And Wallace was there as well. It was
nice.
like half of Western Standard Time, Brian Dixon, and the other half was Soul Syndicate.
Dude,
it
was
I
bet that sounded incredible.
At Capitol.
Okay.
Tommy Hassanius, I know you're listening. You were there. You were at that
That's
session.
right. Oh, yes. Oh, how can I forget? Tommy was there and completely saved my bacon in that session.
I'm not surprised.
Which is, so we talked in our Peter Tosh episode about how rare it actually is that there's wah pedal on a guitar skank in reggae, that most white guys think that it's the only way.
Yeah. And
it turns out that it's actually almost never with a wah pedal.
Yeah. And it's distinct from the way Tosh did it.
Yes, right. Exactly.
It's not how Tosh did it.
It's not. So if you don't know what a wah pedal is, it's a thing that you can put your guitar through, and when it goes back, it sounds like that. And when it goes forward, it sounds like that. And when you go between, you can go like that by moving your foot forward and back. So we talked about the Peter Tosh way, where he's like... and like kind of playing it around, going forward and back. And it's a very distinctive thing that he did. So you have Tony Chin here doing something else with the wah, which is... Doing a steady, singular swoop down on every skank stroke.
Audio listeners, you're going to want to watch the YouTube version of the show to catch Brandon's face he was making during this. Some mad guitar face going on in this episode.
What did I do?
It was... some real wild guitar face going on here. Oh boy.
Excellent.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. So, the way Peter Tosh would do that would be like some.
Yeah, he played around. He played around with it.
Yeah, and multiple like swipes with the foot, but Tony Chin is very straight. Just one singular down swoop.
It's kind of cool
every
though.
Time.
It's like really hip, actually.
Yeah, it's just one of the little details that just gives this album a little flavor that other albums don't have.
It's most of the guitar skanks too.
Yes,
he just kind of rocks it like every skank. It's really nice.
The only one. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Like Why Me Black Brother Why. It's.
Yep.
It's quick, but it's really uniform, and it's consistent, and it's like that is the skank sound. That's the sound of the skank on the song.
That's all about the wah, man. If you play that without the wah,
still cool.
And that's what it would sound like on any other record.
Yeah,
it's
true.
But somebody bought Tony a wah pedal for Christmas in '75, so instead we got.
It's way better.
Come on.
Way better.
A little interesting note that I never noticed about this song is that once the piano takes over playing that melody, it goes It plays it differently than the guitar. When the guitar does it, the piano does it. All these little tiny decisions in there that are giving the music that we love like 3 dimensions instead of 2.
Yeah.
This is one of the beautiful things about having a band be your backing band.
Yes.
Right? Because when you and I make music, there's 2 of us.
Yeah.
Playing all the instruments.
We have to infer a lot.
1 or 2 at a time.
Yeah.
And we're working from drum tracks that were previously recorded in another place at another time by a man that we've never met. Right?
Yeah.
So there's a total of 3 musicians. But these albums are, if you want to have a piano, if you want to add a piano part in this recording, you have to get another human being to come and play that piano.
Yep.
And so you're not just getting like a robot with hands.
Yeah.
You're getting a whole set of sensibilities and everything and opinions. And so I mean, obviously I don't know because I wasn't there, but maybe we could ask Tony one day. I bet you he didn't like say anything or like explain to him like what to play, but just sort of like played it at him like, hey, let's do a thing like that. And he's like, okay. But now since it's not the same human playing it, you got different sensibilities. When he goes,
yeah.
And it sounds perfect.
Yep.
Because he found just the pocket that he needed to be in. Mm-hmm. And so who's going to correct him? Nobody.
Right. And also, how many takes of this are we really going to do? Probably 3 at the very most.
Yeah.
Like,
and I know that, it's another thing that I feel that a lot of people will sometimes racistly think about these recordings is that they're like less musically sophisticated, these sessions.
Yeah.
And they're not. I can tell you, I've worked in a session with Tony Chin, this exact musician, and that dude is so exacting about everything. He hears every note. He knows the music theory of fucking everything. And if he doesn't like it, and if it needs to be improved, he's not an asshole about it, but he will go have a conversation with that musician and talk, like in terms of intervals and rhythms and everything and harmony and all this stuff, and like work it out, like as if he's like a big band arranger or something. You know what I mean?
His
exactly
Wikipedia,
the same way.
His Wikipedia link is fucking blue. Okay.
Yes.
That's because he's
his name
amazing.
is Blue on Wikipedia. You can't be just some guy from a third world country. You know what I mean? Like, these are real fucking musicians. So
agree.
I don't know, man. I just think that it was like just one of those great things that you have when you have more than one creative mind, that, okay, when it comes to the piano, I'm gonna make it fit in a way that I can see that it will fit here.
Yeah. And rinse, repeat that exact thing you're talking about with every single musician, right? Like the drums are informed by the piano is informed by the backup singer is informed by the organist is informed by the fucking trumpet player. Like, it's like, that's what makes this era of music so fucking cool, and these albums that we are obsessed with so fucking cool, is because that kind of collaboration between musicians is like a vanishing art. Like, fuck.
That's why the 70s is like the apex of
the
recorded
apex
music.
Of recorded music. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man.
The bass lines on here feel much closer to like the classic roots type of bass lines that you would be chasing as a reggae bass player to compose.
Yes. So it's primarily Robbie Shakespeare and a guy named Ranchi McLean. Mm-hmm. In the last episode, we're talking about how Jackie Jackson's whole thing was arpeggios, right? Playing all the notes that are in the chord. The bass lines on this one, coming from Robbie Shakespeare and Ranchi McLean, they're even more basic, even like one step of simplicity back from that.
Yeah.
All the way down to the very roots and foundation of the most basic building blocks of a reggae bass line.
Like a root 5 thing.
Exactly.
Roots and fifths.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is root 5th. Okay. So what that means is whatever chord it is that you're playing, if you're playing a C, then the note C is your 5th, is your root, and then you just play the 5th of that chord. Right? So so the bass line and right time.
Yeah. Keep it simple, stupid. It's kind of the best. It's kind of the best technique there is. Root 5 is the shit.
Yeah, man. And Root 5 is all over this entire album. It is very hard to find anybody play a third, which is that missing note that if you were to add that, now you're doing the arpeggiation. Now you're doing what Jackie Jackson does. Mm-hmm. But that like pretty much does not exist at all. Mm-mm. On this entire, nobody plays the third on the bass.
Yeah.
You can get creative with it by going up with the 5th and also
playing the octave,
going down octave. With the 5th and do both. So I Need a Roof.
Yep.
Right. Going high that time. If you were only doing just the root of the chord, this is just what the chords are, you'd be doing.
Yeah, which is actually not good.
It's not enough.
It's not good even.
You need to add.
Yeah.
Right? just adding that.
Yeah.
That is so musically simple, but
and
it's
fundamental to reggae as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
These are the aspects of this music that I love so much, because it's like the maximalization of minimalism.
Yeah.
You know, getting the most
out of the least.
Yeah, and like you're getting more juice if you added more than that, you would get diminishing returns type thing.
Yeah,
you know?
And you do. I think maybe mild hot take here, the arpeggiation bassline era style, whatever you want to call it, it is a little too much. It's too it's too busy. It's too busy for me. Yeah, too busy. It's goofy sounding. Yeah.
That's arpeggiation.
Yeah,
it's one step too far.
It's one step too far. Yeah. They found the perfect middle ground.
Yeah, that's iconic.
Yeah.
Then last one, my favorite is a rare thing, which is galloping on the fifth.
Mm-hmm.
The gallop between the one and fifth. So on the song "Have Mercy," he's just doing that the whole time.
Yeah. Which, if you're listening to this in isolation, this almost sounds like a disco, like bass line or something.
Right, but when you put that in context, it's like playing a percussion part with the bass.
Yeah, it is.
You know, it's like you're shaking a tambourine.
Yeah.
With the bass, and you're just using the 1 and 5 note as being the chuk or the chi.
Yeah. Which again
tambourine
is like a fundamental way to think about reggae music is everyone's playing percussion. Every instrument is a percussion instrument. That's like, so it doesn't surprise me at all that you would draw that comparison, because it's probably a comparison maybe they literally made or probably unintentionally made, which is just like, this is a rhythm I'm hearing in the room right now.
Yeah,
I'll do that rhythm on my instrument. You know what I mean? Because
it makes you
rhythm
dance.
that works.
It makes you move. Because it works exactly. And that galloping thing is like, I hear so few bass players that
still do it
that are from outside of Jamaica, like use that pattern, that galloping tambourine pattern.
Yeah,
I love it, man. I used it when we did our remix of Young Americans.
Oh damn!
On our David Bowie EP.
Yeah, you're right.
I intentionally, from the song "Have Mercy," took that into the booty.
Yeah, you're right.
Gave
you
that
did
gallop.
Do that.
I love that shit, man. This song is where that comes from.
Wow.
So, although on that particular recording, I got too excited. I overthought it and made it. I tried to put new little embellishments and make a new pattern and made it too complicated, which is the downfall. My downfall
of all of us.
Of all of us is we take the inspiration. We're inspired by the mastery of simplicity that are on these recordings,
and then you try to
and we get too excited with it,
and then not even try to embellish. You do embellish out of excitement.
You're trying to not embellish, and you still do.
Yeah.
Standout songs.
Standout songs.
All right, Nate.
All right.
What are your standout songs from the Mighty Diamonds' Right Time?
Is this a bit you're doing? Because you usually are like, it's like a whole thing where you're like mean about standout songs to me.
I'm not mean about
you like accuse me of being
have I
shitty,
ever accused you and what are you guys hearing what he's saying?
Do you know what I mean? Everyone, am I crazy? He's gaslighting me right now.
I think, have you been dreaming again, Nate? I think you might have had another one of your nightmares.
Anyway.
Okay. Everybody, we need to help Nate. Put advice in the comments, please. Okay, go ahead. Standout songs, Nate.
Okay, standout
Yay,
songs.
life is good.
So I'm struggling with this. We talked about it a little bit before. It's real tough. This is another one of those albums where it's so fucking hard to pick a standout, a favorite, a best. Because I think
they're all good.
They're all good, and honestly, depending on when I'm hearing it, I have five. I have three standouts and a favorite and a best, and they all have been kind of best, standout, favorite, like all at different times. But I will say the first one I'd like to highlight is Right Time, the first song. This is, like we said before, all-time.
It would be insane to not talk about this song.
Yeah, all-time track one. Fantastic. Sweet. It kind of has everything we're talking about in it. Super awesome Route 5 bass line, the wah skank, the super sweet delivery of from Tabby, beautiful background harmonies. It's I don't know. It's the perfect hors d'oeuvre for the rest of the album. And also, I defy you. This song is 3 minutes and 17 seconds long. It feels like it's 1 minute long. It's so good. Yeah. It's so fucking good.
It flies by.
It flies by. Every time I hear it, I'm like, okay, I'm not joking. I didn't even know it was over 3 minutes until we started recording this because I can see the track list in front of me. Every time I've listened to this, I'm like, I would think to myself, it's crazy they put like a 2 minute and 10 song track as number one.
It sounds like it sounds like it's like a Misfits song.
Yeah.
It's a punk song.
Yeah. Should I quickly just go through my standouts since I have several?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, you have three, right?
Yeah, I have three. Okay. And if any of these are your standouts or favorites or best, just jump in and we can talk about it.
Okay.
My other one is Why Me Black Brother Why.
Okay. Great pick.
Fantastic. Very prominent Sticky Thompson on the tambourine on this song. Yeah. Super heavy tambo on this tune. Totally helps it kind of groove and rock.
Nasty Aussie Hibbert organ line. Bleed.
Super nasty.
Bleed.
Yeah.
I love Aussie Hibbert's shit because he would play. Well, actually, it might be Ansel Collins.
Who knows?
I don't know which one.
Yeah.
But I think it's Aussie because he would do these like melodies that are like in the mid range of the organ. You know, like normally you would think, oh, I'm going to play I'm playing the intro melody. I'd better go high. Wee bleedy. But no, he just bleed like right in the mid range, in the same range of the keys that he's going to be spending the rest of the song playing the rhythm part in.
Yeah. But he just kind of leans into it in a nasty way. Yeah. That almost kind of just like those lines you're talking about that he plays on this, they almost like kind of distort.
Yeah.
Like the way the level at which he's leaning into it, it's like it almost kind of distorts the pre or something, whatever's going on there. Yeah, fantastic. Just like fantastic song. Like really the ones I want to highlight, we've already kind of talked about the musicianship. We've talked about kind of some of the subject matter, not super in depth, but like we've talked about the delivery. But what we haven't really talked about, and is the reason I made all the picks that I made, is like the songwriting on these. The songwriting of these particular five that I have picked out they're not that the other five are, poor by comparison or anything like that, but like these these five that I've picked truly are to me just like they're all-time great songs. Like it's amazing. I can't believe, again, like I said at the top of the episode, I can't believe I've gone my whole life without some of these songs. Like it pains me. I'm so grateful And it pains me. I'm so
welcome.
grateful that I have these songs in my life for the rest of my life.
I thought you were going to say, I'm so grateful that I have you, Brandon.
No.
I thought that's what you were going to say. It's okay. That's what I will think that you said in my mind.
Okay, whatever.
So go ahead, continue.
But it's almost frightening in a way to think, what else am I unaware of musically that could hit me this hard, and that I could enjoy this much that I've never heard before. Yeah. So
I know what you mean, man, and it's a testament to how deceptively vast, large the body of Jamaican recordings from the 60s and 70s and 80s that there are.
Yep.
No matter, I've been listening to this stuff for like 25 years.
Yep.
And still, I'll be having a conversation, and somebody will be like, "Oh, dude, have you heard the so and so's?" Like somebody the other day turned me on to. Have you ever heard of the band Matumbi?
No.
Exactly. And they play it for me. I'm like, this is fucking legit. How have I? Not only have I never heard the music, I've never even heard the name before. How is that even possible?
We haven't really talked about the content that much of some of these songs.
Yeah, true. We only touched on it briefly.
But I really like, indulge me for one sec. Go Seek Your Rights.
Ooh,
so
that's a good song.
I highlight this song because of the message in the song. And particularly the lines, "No man is an island, no man stands alone." And what I love about that is they're kind of presenting the idea of collectivism, of community. No man is an island. And in a time like right now, where like every podcast, every kind of idea that is presented, I will say to men in particular, but also just to society at large, and this is especially coming from like the right, I think, but it's this really pervasive idea that all of us would be better off and happier, atomized, separate, like castle doctrine, like you live alone, you have a gun, you live on a homestead, you never speak to your neighbors, you don't have neighbors, you don't fucking go anywhere, you don't do anything, you have a gym at your house. There's like the McMansionization too, like it like kind of falls into this stuff. Like you have a McMansion so that you can have a gym and you can have a pool and you can have a little mini putt-putt course in your backyard. And like, you have a movie theater in your house and like shit I'm guilty of too, right? Where it's like, not that I have a McMansion, but I do have like a projector at my house where I watch movies. But it's like this idea that like you shouldn't be a part of society. You shouldn't be a part of community. You shouldn't engage with other people. And look, the whole song is not about that, but those two lines for me like very much are. Like every time they sing them, it just it feels like it's referencing like the Joe Roganization of like our culture right now, where it's like
everyone needs to stop listening to podcasts right now. You're right.
Yeah, but I don't know if what I'm saying makes any sense. But
No,
it's just like
Nate, it makes perfect sense. Keep going.
Yeah, so it's like
I'm gonna follow up on this. Keep
love
going.
it.
You're killing it.
Yeah, so it's just this idea that like it comes from the same place that like demonizes like New York City and San Francisco and Los Angeles, right? It's because these are collective groups of humans.
The thing that's wrong with us is that of how close together we all are.
Yes. Whereas like really the perverse, disgusting idea is the idea that we humans who are by nature social beings.
Social creatures.
Social creatures.
Literally. That's science.
Science. Probably one of the most important, like you could even call it pieces of technology that we've developed is the idea of a community and a society. Like that is the most important thing that we have as human beings.
It's so foundational, in fact, that it's pre-technology.
It is. It's almost biological. It's like biological more than it is anything else.
Not almost.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
That the sociality predates the humanness.
Exactly.
The humanness came second.
Right.
It's that foundational.
Right.
Yes.
And so I challenge anybody out there who is being confronted.
But it doesn't matter anyway because God created the world 3,000 years ago.
That's true. Thank you for pointing that out.
Or 6,000 or whatever.
But I challenge.
Dumb, sorry.
I challenge anyone out there who, you know, your timeline or your suggested algorithm is like this stuff where it's like it's trying to scare you away from being around other people. It's trying to scare you out of relationships, out of talking to people. They're
cutting people off.
Cutting people off. It's like it's this stuff.
Drawing barriers, keeping some relationships, and cutting off others.
It's this really sinister thread in our society right now, and I think it's driven by like big tech, for whatever reason, that is trying to siphon us off from each other, and it's fucked up, and it's sad, and it does not lead to greater wealth, prosperity, happiness, like anything. It's the absolute inverse of that. Like, I'm not going to name names, but I know someone I'm very, very close to who's very dear to my heart, and this person has fallen prey to that ideology, okay? And he fully buys into it. Like, thinks that he should live on a farm and he should grow his own food and he should like hunt and like, you know, he should isolate completely, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, one of the most unhappy people I know, like literally so unhappy and doesn't know why, doesn't understand what is going on in his life that is making him feel that way, right? Mm-hmm. Doesn't understand like why, if I'm doing all this stuff that I'm told is so good and righteous to do and good to do, why can't I meet my wife? Where's my wife? You know, why can't I have children?
Maybe
you know, why
she's waiting in the forest. I mean,
maybe she's maybe she's in the cornfield, dog.
Probably
I don't know.
not, but
probably not. But try that. Maybe try. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's very sinister because I see the effects that this ideology has on, I think especially men, but I'm sure women as well. And it's fucked up. And so when I hear these lyrics, no man is an island, no man stands alone, dude. It's true, man. You need community. Community is important. And I love that.
I love it when you lock onto lyrics. I really do. And you've locked onto a major one. This is major because I don't know if you know that. So, you know, obviously, like so many of these Rasta songs, so many of them, the lyrics come from the Bible.
Right.
I don't know if you know where those lyrics, what they're referencing, because it's not the Bible.
No.
So I have, do you see this tattoo that I have on my arm here?
Yes.
Small words. It says, never send to know for whom the bell tolls.
Oh.
Okay. And it comes from the same poem that those lyrics, no man is an island, no man stands alone, is referencing.
Wow.
So this is a poem by John Donne.
Okay.
Who is like a contemporary of Shakespeare.
Okay.
So this is like 1500s England, right?
Yeah.
So can I just read you this poem?
Of course.
It's not too long.
Let's do it. We've stumbled into a profound section of the show.
Here we are. Quote corner.
Quote corner. Back. Quote corner. Shakespeare. Quote corner.
Yes. Quote corner by Shakespeare's friend. Okay. No man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. If a clod be washed away by the sea, Europe is the less.
Yeah.
As well as if a promontory were, as well as if a manor of thy friends, or if thine own were. Any man's death diminishes me, because I am involved in mankind. And therefore, never send to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee. When somebody would die in the town, they would toll the bell in the middle of the town, right? And so that's why the last line, and therefore never send to know, meaning like never ask who the bell is tolling for. It's tolling for you. If somebody died, you don't need to know who that was. It's one of your fucking homies. Like, whoever died, it is of equal importance to you. It's you. One of your people. One of your community just died, you know?
Yeah. It's crazy because so much of the lyrics on this album, you know, they're very like kind of Marcus Garvey centered kind of stuff. Like, you know, very Rastafarian kind of centered stuff, which is awesome, but wasn't really something we were planning on talking about in this episode because we've kind of covered the Marcus Garvey topic kind of in other episodes, 2/7's Clash episode particularly.
Yeah, the 2/7's Clash episode, we go
super deep into all that
into
stuff.
Marcus Garvey. So yeah, we don't just want to be repeating ourselves for the 100 people who listen to the show.
Yeah, but yeah, that line in particular, I was like, fuck, man. It was like the one line in the whole album that I could not let go of. I was like, yeah, dude.
That's great,
It's
man.
fucking important. It's like really important to internalize that kind of shit, dude.
That's one of the two big lyrics of this album for me. And I will tell you later about my number one.
Yeah.
The lyric that on this album that I can't get over. But that one is the other
a big one.
Head of the Hydra, just unbelievable lyric.
Yeah. Okay. So those are my three standouts. I actually guess I had four, but I'm not going to do a fourth. I want to hear your standouts. Let's hear your standouts.
Okay.
Because I have a feeling we're going to talk about the one I was going to bring up anyway.
First standout is Have Mercy. The biggest selling point of the album is the vocal harmony, is the great sound of these three guys singing together.
Agree.
I believe that Have Mercy is the song that has the best vocal harmony stuff content on it.
This song also has another standout lyric that just kind of wedged itself in my brain.
Okay. What's that?
You know, at risk of like highlighting a possibly kind of patriarchal kind of type of lyric, although I think it's very mild, and that's a critique I would not make, but I'm sure some people could infer it that way.
No,
but,
go ahead. Nate is a sexist. Okay, go ahead.
Nate is woke. No, man was made to suffer and woman was made to feel the pain, which, like, if you're taking a purely strict, like, super woke, patriarchal is bad.
Yeah, like, whoa.
Yeah, hold on. He said men and women. That's bad. That's bad. Pause.
Press the buzzer.
He compared men and women in one sentence. That's illegal.
Yeah.
If you were to take that read on it, whatever. Okay, fine. But like, to me, it's a very sweet, I guess.
How do you read that lyric? Because I've been looking at it and I took a new read on it, and I'll tell you why. But how do you interpret that lyric?
The way I interpret it is it is patriarchal, but it's not patriarchal in a misogynist way. It's patriarchal in a very traditional kind of way, in the way that, like, men traditionally, they go out and work and they go out and do this and they do that and they're breadwinners, whatever, right? Not correct, but traditional, viewing of, men and women's roles in society. Sure.
It's not the objectively correct only way to live, but it is one of the ways to live. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're trying to write a pretty poem in a song, sure, make that. Go ahead and say that. And women are made to feel the pain. It's drawing on how maternal and sweet and empathetic women are. So to me, it's highlighting good things about the traditional relationships between men and women. It's like, I'm out there suffering and
toiling and working,
and you, when I come home, you have mercy on me. You feel for me. You feel and you empathize with what I'm going through, right?
Sort of like the "No Man is an Island" thing. Yeah. It's like, okay.
Yeah. So I take a very generous read on it, and I think there's plenty of reggae songs you could highlight that are like just straight up probably, misogynistic, like very misogynistic, right?
Hey, we two episodes from now, we got one to talk about.
Yeah, I'm sure,
and it's gonna be fun.
Oh, I know what you're talking. Fat girl.
No. It's even worse than that. No, I'm talking about I've Got the Handle.
Oh God, it's on the same album.
It's on the same album. Yes.
Yeah, that's going to be a landmine discussion.
Yes. Okay.
But yeah, this is not even close to either one of those songs. Not even close. This is like a very sweet, gentle kind of. Sure, is it patriarchal? Is it like mildly misogynistic, like in its worldview? Maybe, but like whatever.
Well,
the intentions are really good. I think the intentions behind it are good.
This is interesting though, because I have always taken this, similar, about the same interpretation as you're saying right now, all these years about this song, and that lyric only has kept me from putting it in my live repertoire of just reggae classics that I sing live, because I am playing in California in 2026, and I'm saying the lyrics that are very often very jaja out loud to this assembled group of white people who's listening. And so some songs, even though I really want to sing them, like literally just that line, man was made to suffer and women were made to feel the pain. It's like, I don't know if I want to sing that in a bar. I don't want to sing that in a restaurant. But I recently revisited it during our study of this album, and I think I have found a new interpretation.
Okay.
I think, I don't know. We need to go find Judge Diamond and ask him. But I think that these lyrics are actually meant to convey an exact sameness and equalness between men and women. I think that the only difference is that he chooses two different phrases to say the same thing. And the point is that both men and women suffer.
Yeah.
Both men and women
feel pain.
Yeah. It's just that he says it first. Men were made by God in the Old Testament to suffer, to feel pain, in Job and all this shit, right?
Yeah.
And guess what women were made for? Were they meant for some other purpose? Nope. Women were made to suffer, to feel the pain, to say the same thing. Men and women are in the same boat, because look at the earlier lyrics and the symmetry. Have mercy on a good man and help him, we pray. Have mercy on a good girl and help her, we pray. It's the same. It's symmetry. It's the same.
It's the same.
And the next thing, man was made to suffer and women were made to feel the pain. I think that it's intended.
Suffering and feel the pain are the same thing. It's not women are made to feel the men's pain.
Exactly.
The pain and suffering are the same thing.
Yeah, stand by our side and guide us, we pray. Give us all your blessing and help us, we pray.
Yeah.
So I never saw it like that.
That's interesting.
And I think that is what these lyrics are meant.
I think that's a fair read of it, and I like that read quite a bit.
It's like we're in the same boat kind of sentiment.
I like that read quite a bit. Although I agree, I would also not sing this at a bar. Because nobody's going to read it that way. I'm not going to
take a second to explain it.
Nobody's going to read it.
I don't know. I might toy with it. I might be able, because what made me feel unconfident about singing that in a bar in California is because I had the unequal understanding of the lyrics.
Yeah.
So I would have felt like that's what I'm conveying when I sing them.
It's like a weird patriarchal thing.
Right, because that's what I thought that the original song meant.
Yeah.
So then that would be what I'm singing on the stage. But I feel like now that I get this interpretation of it, I might try it out.
I think you should.
And see, like, if just the conveyance of the way that I sing it, see if people can get the message of like, damn, dude, he's saying like it's tough out there for all of us.
Tough out there for all of us. I like that. That's a very generous.
I wonder if it can communicate through that.
That's a generous read, but I think a one that you can like appropriately make, to be honest.
Oh, also too, the last little bit on Have Mercy, which is something that it has in common with Right Time, is check out how this song, the bridge section, all that it is just they stop singing and nobody plays a melody, and it's just the rhythm section playing for 8 bars. No fills, no nothing. It's just the rhythm section playing the backing loop. And that's the bridge.
That's great. Shocking they had the restraint to not just have Tommy McCook do a solo or fucking...
Exactly. Nobody even comes in with a point. Even in Right Time, nobody does the point. They just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Nasty. Okay.
Yeah.
Next one is Natural Natty.
Oh, we're going to have totally different standouts. This is crazy.
My third standout you also didn't say, and I don't know, it might be one of your favorite or best, maybe. I don't think it is, but maybe. Okay, Natural Natty. So I want to highlight this song because the backing rhythm is a Studio One rhythm.
Okay.
So the concept of a rhythm is an important thing, listener. If you don't know, what that means is that there's like backing music that people will reuse.
Yes.
Right? In the tradition of Jamaican music. It's the origins of what a remix is.
Yeah.
But it predates the doing a remix by the way of using literally the same backing music and reusing it again, somebody else singing on it.
Like the same recording, you mean?
The same literal recording.
Right.
Before that, what they would do is the band would just play that same music again.
Yeah.
And sing on top of it. So this one is called...
It sounds old school. Like it sounds of the prior era when you listen to it.
This is
that little organ line.
Exactly. This is a Jackie Me Too Studio One rhythm.
Yeah.
It's called the college rock rhythm or the freak out rhythm. But it's based on... It wasn't composed by Jackie Me Too. It's based on a Stax Records track.
Interesting.
I've Never Found a Girl by Eddie Floyd.
Wow.
You know that song?
Look it up
I never found a girl who treats me like or loves me like you do.
Yeah.
Like you do.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah. I wanted to highlight that song for that reason.
Yep.
It's a very old school, very traditional Jamaican move to do that on this record. Third one, this is just sort of a half standout. I just want to highlight it for a particular reason, is the song Africa. I want to point it out because this song has a pop style bridge. It has a bridge that is like an American or English pop song. See, normally, so like an American or English pop song, it'll have like an intro, verse, chorus, and then go back and forth a couple times between verse and chorus. And then 2/3 of the way through the song, you'll get what's called a bridge, which is a new musical something is happening.
Yeah.
That they haven't played yet. So it feels fresh. And then out of that, you would normally drop into the chorus of the song again. It's to give the chorus new life, right? By giving it that new context, and then that takes you out of the song.
Yeah.
That's like the traditional
and then
way.
maybe bridge to like a solo or an interlude or something.
Yeah.
You have like an extended new musical passage.
A guitar solo is like that's like the rock and roll, the bridge that plays it serves the function of the traditional bridge.
Yeah. The interesting thing about the bridge, I think I hope you're getting at, is they drop the skank. It's like dun 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 dun, like the whole band kind of like the drum groove keeps going, but the bass and everything else goes. It drops the whole rhythm of the song.
This isn't even. It's not even that dun dun bum bum.
Yeah.
It's not even that, because that is a figure that repeats a couple times.
That's true.
And happens a couple times throughout the song.
That's true.
This song has a real bridge where a new chord shape that starts on a new chord that none of the sections have started on, with a new horn line that doesn't exist anywhere else in the song. And this stands out in comparison. And the reason why I'm pointing this out is because this is not that common for roots reggae, right? Roots reggae, just like, look at every other song on this album. Their structure is a more traditional, like Caribbean style form of a song, which is that rather than going back and forth between verse and chorus and then using a third section as a one-time, spice, pepper for your sauce, the Caribbean way is to like alternate between three different things, three different little sections that are all very short and that are normally the same length, and to cycle through them twice, maybe 3 times, and then the song is over.
Right.
So rather than A, B, A, B, C, B, it's A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C. And that's the song, right? And so I never noticed before honing in and listening closer to this album, like, dude, Africa has a freaking like American style bridge.
Interesting.
In it. Yeah. So that's one only for the
nerds.
Mega nerds.
Nerds.
Yeah. There's like 5 people out there that are like, dude, that's the shit. That's what I came here for.
Those are the people that listen to the show.
Yeah, that's probably why we have 100 people who actually listen to the show.
This is why you all need to be patrons, because we've probably maxed out.
Love you.
If you all became $5 patrons, we could actually do the show and be fine. But
yeah, man,
because
that would be $500.
That would be $500.
That's seriously.
Yeah, that's seriously.
Can you imagine?
Can you imagine if we made
how much work we could get done if we had a steady flow of $500?
Yeah, holy fuck,
dude.
Yeah.
We could make so much reggae.
Come on, nerds.
Come on, nerds. Favorite, best.
Okay. So, my favorite. It feels disingenuous to call a favorite, honestly.
I have a favorite. My favorite is definitely my favorite. Excuse me, I burped. My favorite is definitely my favorite. I got no qualms about it.
Shame and Pride.
Oh, nice.
Favorite song, Shame and Pride.
Okay. Wow.
I
would not have guessed that.
Much like, I don't know which tune you said was kind of the highlight of the vocal trio for you. Was it Have Mercy?
Have Mercy.
Shame and Pride is that for me.
Okay.
It's just so pretty. And the way they kind of interleave the vocal, the way they do the vocal trio stuff is so textbook. It feels like Temptations or the Impressions or something like that. Like they're drawing from the dopest of the dope Stax shit on this song. And I just love
the arrangement.
Yeah, the arrangement of the vocals particularly. And yeah, I just love the tune. I just think it's again, a lot of my picks for standouts and favorite best were driven by how much I just love the song. And this one, I really, really love this song. I just think it's fucking beautiful. It's fantastic.
So I have the same. So this is a good pick, by the way.
Thank you.
This song, by the way, is also the only song that is not either Rasta or conscious or political or biblical or something. It's the one that is a love song.
Yeah, it's a love song. And I like that. Those are the ones that get me, man.
Yeah, our romance began when we were school kids, and it ain't the same anymore. Things have changed. Man, we've grown older and things are different now. What's going on, girl?
Yeah. Those are the ones
girl.
Those are the ones that get me because they're ones that are for me, a stupid white guy in 2026, it's like, oh hey, I know about that.
I can relate to that.
I can relate to that. Like I'm not one of those people who loves reggae so much that I sit here and pretend like I identify with Rastafarianism.
Yeah.
Right?
Neither do I, by the way, in case anyone is wondering.
Yeah. It's very interesting sociological thing to study, and it's an amazing aspect of this music that we love, and it's always worth highlighting. But there are, in my opinion, way too many people like me who are like, that's me. They're singing about I'm that as well.
Yes.
Me 50 years later.
I'm a sufferer.
I'm a sufferer.
Yeah.
What? Let me check my iPhone.
I'm oppressed
that's me.
by Babylon.
I'm the sufferer.
I mean, see, but the nuance of it is like
we all are.
We do suffer, and
and
we are oppressed by Babylon in a particular way, but not like that. Not
like
what
this.
they're talking about.
Yeah.
They're singing about something that is specific, and it's not the same.
Yeah. It's not
we
the
have
way
a different one.
You know what it is?
A different flavor of the same phenomenon.
Yeah. You know what it is? It's not the way I choose to highlight how against I am the system of Babylon that we live in. That is not how I choose to
it's not what you lead with at parties.
It's not what I lead with at parties. It's not how I choose to present myself when I want to, present how against I am, everything that goes on in our society, right? That's not these singers, these artists. These are revolutionaries, in my opinion.
That is the function of the dreadlocks, by the way.
Exactly.
Because you cannot hide. If you wear them, you can't hide that you're Rasta. You do lead with that, very literally. That is what you lead with at parties.
Exactly.
Yes.
And
nice to meet you. Wow, look at your hair.
If you identify with this stuff in that way, that you choose to live life in that way, that's awesome. Good for you. I'm not knocking anybody. I never would. But for me, that's not how I choose to do it. And so when I hear songs like Shame and Pride, it is something where it's like, oh hey, I can see and hear myself in this tune because it's something simple, So I do love it.
Nate, representation matters.
I need more representation
I can't tell
of
you
me
what it felt like to be
roots reggae.
a young Nate and to hear someone who looks like me in the reggae.
Oh God. No, I didn't need that. Actually, I'm fine. I'm good.
I was just fucking with you. Just fucking. Yeah, we grew up listening to Sublime. We're good.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Okay, what's your favorite? I'm very curious.
So
I'm curious if we're going to have any overlap.
So favorite and best are the same for me.
Oh, okay.
And so
you're
am
cheating.
Hoping that my favorite and best is the same as your best.
I don't think so.
And I really hope so, because if it's not, then I can't be friends with you anymore. Because this album has an objectively correct answer to what the best song
I think I know
is.
what it is. Can I guess what I think your pick is?
Yes.
I Need a Roof.
I Need a Roof.
Okay, so remember when I said I had a fourth standout?
It's I Need a Roof.
It's I Need a Roof. Okay. And it would have been my third standout, but that I remembered.
So you say favorite, best, three standouts. So you're saying that I Need a Roof is your ranked sixth on your ranking?
It's not a ranking. There's no ranking. I said, what did I say in the beginning? Oh, roll the tape back. I said, fucking, this is impossible. They're all favorite best. They're all good. I love all of these songs. This is one of the hard.
It's not I Need a Roof.
And yet, 6.
Yeah, number 6. That's amazing.
I think this is you're right. This is great, but I'm excited to talk about my best. But
dude, this is the song. This is the song of the album.
This is a very famous song.
Oh my God. Too. It's very, right. This is probably their second most famous song after Pass the Coochie.
Yeah.
Which is about passing a joint around.
Yeah.
I Need a Roof. So there's everything going on in the song. It has that piano bubble.
Mm-hmm.
It has this guitar lick. This is one of possibly the only song on this album where the skank is not through the wah pedal. There might be others, but how the guitar skank has this thing every time through. There's
you know who does that? That's a very fucking Nate guitar move. That's what I would play.
So when Nate Bridges played guitar on I Need a Roof, I love how you play this. No, I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean. I do that shit on like so many tracks. Mm-hmm.
And I love it because, and I do too. That's one that I throw in here and there too. But I think you're like me, where it's an embellishment.
It's an embellishment, yeah.
It's a fill. It's a little pepper to throw in over here.
It's not literally the part,
right? And in this song, that thing that I'm used to relating as flavor is the part.
Yep.
It happens every time they're on the D minor chord.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like so fucking beautiful.
That kind of like really militant consistency seems like an aspect of Tony Chin's guitar playing to me. That's just kind of part of his thing.
It feels very Tony.
Yeah.
Tony is he's like a consummate like rhythm player, you know, and that's a rhythm guy thing to be able to have the discipline to play that every time on the D chord, the D minor chord,
and it's a reggae music thing. Like I remember when Brian Wallace was like teaching my high school band how to play reggae, he would like challenge us to play the same rhythm without embellishing. Yeah. Like, are you guys good enough to actually play it without getting bored? Like, are you good enough musicians
to put it like that? Are you good enough?
Yeah. To not get bored, to find the excitement in the sameness of the rhythm that you're playing, right? Because once you're able to do that, you dig in harder on what you're doing. And it sounds better. It feels better, you play better, and it's like very subtle, but it's like if you're doing it right, if you're not fucking noodling.
It's a better product for, I don't know, the people who are trying to listen to what the music is.
Absolutely.
Let's not forget about them.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah, exactly. But the main thing about this, I don't know, the main thing, because to me, the song I Need a Roof, it's just the perfect confluence of everything. The band is on point. The recording is on point. The composition is on point. The horns, the arrangement is on point. So when I was talking before about there's one lyric for me that is the only lyric that's bigger for me than No Man is an Island. Mm-hmm. It's this one. It's the main lyric from I Need a Roof.
Okay.
So, on paper, it's I need a roof over my head, bread on my table, and love in my heart.
Yep.
And love for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's powerful on paper as it is.
Yep.
But when it's paired with the performance of it.
Agree.
Not only does like the meaning of it come alive, and it's easier to experience and to get it from the way that Tabby sings it and performs it, but
he's so like wistful about it.
Exactly.
And longing.
Exactly.
For such like simple things.
It's because this is what's so fucking fascinating about this. The bittersweet aspect of that lyric, the fact that it is not just a simple statement of fact that I need a roof, I need bread, and I need love. The fact that it's a wish that it's a prayer for those things.
You can tell it's things he doesn't have.
Exactly.
Or didn't have.
That it's something that we're striving for, but we have not reached yet.
Yep.
The only way that aspect of it gets communicated is by the way he performs it.
And the deliverer of the song.
And
where
who
it's like,
he is.
Where it's like, that he's singing from a place where he, at least at one point in his life, did not have those things.
Right.
Which are very, very simple, basic, like, necessities of, like, a human being's life,
Because that wishfulness and that aspect that we strive for this and we don't yet have it is not in the text.
Mm-hmm.
It's not in the lyrics.
Right.
And speaking of what is in the lyrics, the other thing that trips me out about this song is the lyrics of the other part are about the Marcus Garvey's prophecy about like Armageddon, about like the end of the world, of like Babylon driving the people mad, so to the point of just like worldwide violence and murder and bloodshed. The lyrics, every gully I go red, every gully I go run red.
Wow. Meaning
like all of the streams and the valleys will run red with blood because man will start killing man. This is from like prophecies and speeches speeches by and writings by Marcus Garvey that Rastas interpret as literal prophecy from God.
Yeah.
And it's paired with that of he just nails like the thing that all songwriters are, the holy grail for songwriters, really capturing the universal want of all humans. It's, I need a roof over my head and bread on my table and love in my heart and love for everyone. If togetherness and the bare necessities. If I just had that, you know?
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful song.
What a song.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is your song that you're right about, that you're wrong about being the best?
You already said you a slip of the tongue. Oh my God, that was amazing. I'm gonna edit it so you say that like 8 times in a row. What is the best song on the album?
The wrong one.
I'll tell you.
Here comes the wrong one, everyone. Nate's about to say it. Okay, go.
Them Never Love Poor Marcus is my best.
Them never love poor Marcus.
Yep, that's right.
They never love you, no. Okay.
Yeah.
What? Tell me about it.
This one is the earworm for me. Them Never Love Poor Marcus. It just absolutely like on a fucking loop in my brain like every day. It is the song that stood out to me first. It was the first song listening to this where I was like, when I first listened to this album, the first time through, I kind of had this thought, and I was wrong about this, but I kind of had this thought, I was like, what?
You often are. It's okay.
I kind of had this thought where I was like, this is going to be really good. It's going to be a great album, and it's probably going to be like produced really well. And this is after listening to it one time all the way through. But I was like, I don't know if any of these songs are going to like stick in my craw. Like, I don't know if I'm going to like be able to sing these back necessarily. Like, they're all really good, but I just don't know if any of the first time through, mind you, I was like, I just don't know if any of these melodies are like cutting through in like earworm territory for me, like where a lot of great albums kind of would have to. And I was completely wrong about that, mind you. The whole album is fucking amazing top to bottom. But Them Never Love Poor Marcus was the first one where I was like, immediately I was like, oh my God, like I'm never going to forget this song. And I'm never going to forget how it goes.
Yeah.
And it kind of jumped. It might actually be my favorite. I could have easily done favorite best for this one too. I fucking love the song.
It's an incredible song.
Yeah, incredible song.
It's an incredible song.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has that great shuffle feel. I can't remember what album, what episode we were discussing the shuffle.
Has a great upright piano part. Sounds like almost the same day they recorded. What was the other one we highlighted that had the piano part? Natural Natty or Gnashing of Teeth? What was one that doesn't have a guitar on it?
Gnashing of Teeth.
Gnashing of Teeth. This does have guitar on it, but it sounds like it sounds like the fucking same day. Like it sounds like Tony Chan was just late that day or something.
Right. That's the thing is like the fact that there is a guitar almost conclusively means that it was not recorded in the same session because there would have been a guitar in it, right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe not. Dude, we should ask Tony.
We should ask Tony. Would be cool.
Yeah.
We should get him on the show. Honestly.
I don't think I realized that he played on this album. Dude, and it's probably for the best because when I was in the studio with him, if it was on my mind that he played on Right Time, I would have been too starstruck.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
It's probably for the best that I didn't know.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Great. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
The song itself being about, I don't know, portraying Marcus Garvey as like a Christ-like figure being betrayed by like Judas or something. Like
bag of wire.
Yeah.
Men like bag of wire should burn in fire.
Yeah.
So bag of wire is the name. Not only is it an unflattering name, a bag of wire.
Right. Sucks.
That's not something that you want to be anthropomorphized to.
As two audio engineers, what are our least favorite things that we've accumulated over the years? Literal bags of wires.
Negative association.
Absolutely sucks.
But so the story goes, so the legend goes, is that the ultimate downfall of Marcus Garvey. Because he was eventually, taken down by the authorities,
right? Jailed, and
that he was. The story goes that he was betrayed by his chauffeur.
Wow.
He was given up by his chauffeur, who is known as Bag of Wire. I don't know why. I don't know the origin of why people call him it.
Maybe his name
probably rhymes with it.
Sounds like that or rhymes with it. Yeah.
Something. Yeah. Or when he was a kid, he was standing next to a bag that was full of wires, and from that day on, everybody in Jamaica called him Bag of Wire. Dude, that's how like nicknames in the Caribbean that stick with you for the rest of your life come about. I had this hilarious conversation. I was laughing my ass off. A good friend of mine is a woman. She's from Belize, English-speaking Caribbeans, right? Cousins with Jamaica. It's essentially the same sort of culture. And she was telling me these stories about just like these ridiculous nicknames that like the older adults had when she was a kid that she remembers. Her dad knew a guy who had cancer. And so they gave him the nickname Soon Dead.
Oh my God.
And the dude beat cancer and lived like for the next like 30 ye's. His name, they didn't call him George. They didn't call him Mr. Thompson. They called him Soon Dead. That's his name. And that's how it goes.
That's fucking hilarious.
However, he was probably just walked in the door one day and went, "Hey guys, what's up?" Holding a bag of wire. And look at bag of wire standing over here.
Look at fucking dumbass Bag of Wires
look
over
at bag
here,
of wire.
fucking idiot.
Yeah, dude. Soon dead.
Why don't you go back to the car, you fucking idiot?
Oh my God. Yeah, go drive my car. And then he's like, "Oh, maybe it was Marcus Garvey who gave him that nickname." And he's like, "Oh, you think you're so funny, Marcus, laughing at me at my expense to make yourself look cool in front of your friends. I'll show you."
Holy fuck.
Oh, I'm going to turn you into fucking the FBI. Oh,
I'm going to turn you into a pseudo-religious figure for a small Caribbean island.
Yeah. Dude. So that's why they say
very interesting.
Men like Bag of Wire should burn in fire because then after that, Bag of Wire became just like a slang term for a betrayer,
for a Judas.
For a
like
Judas.
Calling someone Judas Iscariot or something.
Exactly.
That is very, very interesting. I love that. I did not know that. That is very interesting. Final thoughts.
Nate just put dub on his yawn. I don't know. I mean, the only thing that comes to mind is that your pick for best song is incorrect. That's the only thing I can think of.
We talked. You know what I will? Okay, here's my final thought. The Who Kim brothers. We didn't really touch too much on.
That's true. So yeah, the studio Channel 1 is owned and operated by the Who Kim brothers, spearheaded by the brother Joseph Who Kim, and Ernest Who Kim was the engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's got a special extra points with us. But
and
for
it's like
a full deep dive on them,
the Wailing Souls.
Yeah, our episode on the Wailing Souls from last year.
Yeah.
We tell the whole tale.
It's amazing because in that episode we talk about like how dope the Channel 1 sound is. That's like the whole episode.
Yes.
And we reference very briefly, I believe, like, okay, there was one they did that like kicked it off, and it was this one. And that kicked off the whole Channel 1 run, right? And that kind of put Channel 1 like on the map as like a dope place to record. And had its own sound and all that stuff.
Because they started as just humble business owners that don't know anything about, have no background in music at all.
Yeah.
And they went into their business venture as a group of brothers to start a recording studio and start running it. And the story goes, the first few years, all their output was just
ass.
Dog shit.
Yeah.
It was just crap, right? Like, and mainly like technically speaking, there were, just like technical things done incorrectly to the point where the records and the recordings that were coming out were like not suitable for use type thing. Right. And the first album that they finally like, did it correctly and made it well, was this one, was Right Time.
Which is hell of a way to jump out the gate if you're going to be like, okay, those were the scratch pancakes.
Yeah, because and it's really interesting because then that means then from a certain standpoint, this is the first Channel 1 record.
Yeah.
Because it's the first one that we're ever really going to hear.
Right, yeah.
You know, like as we go out there listening to reggae, we're not going to, this is the first one that we're actually going to find.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like, these guys, the Who Kim brothers, I mean, they were like proprietors of what it was like jukeboxes and like shit like that. Like that was their business.
Yeah,
they like had jukeboxes that they would like put in bars or wherever. You know what I mean?
I believe that there's some aspect of some kind of eatery. It was like either an ice cream parlor or a restaurant or something like that. And yes, like a jukebox. They would like rent.
Yeah, or like fucking cigarette. It was like cigarette machines and jukeboxes.
Oh, that's what it was.
Bullshit like that.
Yeah, like the vending machine type things that other restaurants would have. They own a bunch,
and
service
lease them out,
rent them out, lease them out. Yeah, exactly.
So like, I just like, okay, knowing everything that you and I and all of our friends that we know and love and collaborate with, knowing everything that like we all know, how fucking hard it is to not only like run and operate a studio from like a business standpoint, that alone, they might have been able to do that, right? Because they're businessmen. But like the technical, like making it a good sounding record. Think about everything we know that goes into that and how fucking hard it is.
And how long it took you to learn it.
And I still suck at it, and I still am like constantly working on it for the rest of my life until I die.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Ernest probably got better than we have in 20 years in like 4. You know?
Yeah.
So because they didn't hire technicians. They just did it themselves.
They just like figured it out.
What the fuck? Yeah. It's such a weird choice to make.
But, so like knowing all that we know about it and how hard
we'll
it
figure
is.
It out.
It's like, dude, these guys are fucking legends that they did this. Like this is like a feat of like in every way that like the Mighty Diamonds are like amazing for like what they brought to this, and the band is super good and like all that stuff. Man, the engineers on this record,
brothers,
and like we've already highlighted how the lineup changes, and then they must have recorded this in multiple sessions and like all that stuff. And it sounds like it all was recorded in the same afternoon. Like that's really hard to do. It's really hard to achieve that level of consistency in a studio, even under extremely controlled conditions. Like I've seen it. I've seen it working at Capitol Studios where like they would have, not only would everything be marked off, it's like we wouldn't touch anything. You're forbidden to touch anything until basics are over. And basics could take a week, it could take 3-4 days, 5 days, a week, whatever, It doesn't always, I don't know what happens, but it doesn't always sound the same for track to track. It's going to change. Like it just happens.
Yeah.
Like it was only the true masters. I'm talking Al Schmidt. Al Schmidt, 25 Grammys to his name. He was the only one who I could see just walk in and like, he could just mix a whole album in like a day make it sound like it was the same. Like no matter how it was recorded or whatever. Like, it's like when I hear this stuff, I'm just like, wow, this was like your first record. Like, fuck you,
Ernest
dude.
Hukim was able to accomplish it in a few years.
Starting
from I rent cigarette machines.
To like, wait, you're supposed to read the manual.
Right, yeah. There was that story about like how... how part of the reason why they went like a year and a half of just unusable recordings is because they didn't read the manual of their equipment.
Yeah. And then they did, and then this happened.
And they're like, oh, you're supposed to flip this switch. Okay. Now we're good. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Unbelievable.
Amazing.
No, I'm glad that you mentioned them and sang their praises because you're right, they are an equal share of the genius on display here.
All right, well, I guess we should talk about next episode's pick, which
that's right,
I believe is my pick next. Correct.
Next pick.
Okay, so we're going back to first off, we're doing, I would say, probably the most famous vocal trio. I think that's fair to say. I would say at this point...
I can't remember off the top of my head what it is, so I'm like kind of excited. But, okay, now I remember. Yes.
We are. I think at this stage...
the Wailers are the most famous vocal trio.
Besides the Wailers. Everything is besides the Wailers this year.
Yeah.
You know that.
Besides
the Wailers.
Yes.
Besides Bob Marley, it's this. Right? Yes. So in that vein, I would say I'm so happy at the level, like the stature that this next group has gained, like in popular music, I think. We're going to talk about Toots and the Maytals' Funky Kingston next episode.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Great record.
Great record. One of my all-time favorite reggae albums, man. It's in much the same way that Jimmy Cliff was like Reggae goes Sly Stone. This album is very like Reggae goes James Brown in a lot of ways. It's super funky. Funky Kingston being a very apt title.
It's a great title for this album.
Great title for this record. And it's just, again, like our theme of this, and I think we should maybe decide at the end of the season is like, who is number two?
Yeah, that's true.
Toots Hibbert.
We're really doing all of them.
All of them.
Is particularly this year.
Yeah. Toots Hibbert, like, oh my gosh, he is such a dynamic.
Shout for number two.
Absolutely gives Jimmy Cliff a run, and Peter Tosh runs for number two. Especially now, I just kind of feel like Toots and the Maytals have, maybe thanks to Sublime, I don't know, but like they have, maybe it's just due to like their discography being so fucking good.
Yeah, at least that's a good point because. I don't know. People, maybe let us know in the comments because it might be hard to tell how big Toots is outside of California because we had Sublime who sang 5446, And I know that is a popular Sublime song everywhere.
Yeah,
I understand.
That escaped containment.
It's a religion in California. That song is not just a hit. That's like
it's like a way of life.
It's a way of life when you grow up in California. But and so because of that,
everybody knows Toots and the
everybody knows Toots.
You have to know Toots and the Maytals. Yeah. So I don't know. We can't do another Reggae Summer. I can't take it. We can't do another Reggae Summer without talking about Toots and the Maytals. They're one of my all-time favorite reggae bands. And like everything they did before this album is just, it's like foundational reggae music. It is like chapter 1 of good reggae is Toots and the Maytals discography prior to this album. And this album is one of my favorite reggae albums ever recorded. So, and for that episode, I guess we can announce now, we're going to have a friend of the show, John Roy, as a guest on that show. So,
John Roy.
Jonathan Roy. Okay, with that, I guess I don't want to talk about this too much, but we had some kind of bad news come in the black market dub world. If you are familiar with our discography, if you haven't noticed yet, you will notice soon that the Michael Jackson album Thriller that we have on the Bandcamp was taken down. I am shocked that it took this long for that to happen. To any one of our albums on our Bandcamp.
Reggae mixes of songs from Thriller.
Yeah, so it happened. So the Thriller album, probably due to the new assuredly stupid fucking movie that came out like last month.
It wasn't that bad.
Really?
I hate music biopics. And it wasn't that bad. I thought it was the best music biopic that I've ever seen.
Oh.
Which means it was fine. It was
Fair.
fine.
So I'm going to take your review, and that's the most I'll ever probably engage with this particular movie. Yeah. I doubt I'll ever watch it. So yeah, that got removed. We are kind of in a place right now where we don't really know what to do next because we're a little worried about that happening again. So I don't know. But
yes, some things may go on.
Some things may change in Black Market Dub Bandcamp world. We'll see. Because we really can't afford to lose our Bandcamp page. That is basically our lifeblood. If we lost our Bandcamp page, we lose the project, like pretty much. Yeah. So we're kind of, me and Brandon have been talking a lot. We don't know what we're going to do quite yet, but we're talking about some stuff that could really shake up Black Market Dub.
Yes.
So,
keep an eye out, and we will do our best, as always, to keep you informed in whatever it is that we decide to do, and also, do our best to, keep you guys as listeners in mind.
Yeah.
Try to keep the music as available to you as we possibly can.
We can, yeah. We'll see what happens. I don't know. We're talking about it. But anyway, with that, go to our Bandcamp while you still can. And get our music, buy our records. We've got the Nine Inch Nails record on vinyl over there. We've got the Take My Breath Away album that features, we've brought him up 100 times in this episode, Ryan Basilio from the Roosters. Still plenty of copies of both of those records you can order from our Bandcamp page. Every fucking dollar that gets spent on that Bandcamp gets funded, gets funneled back into, we have a little band fund, and we use it to buy stuff that we need for the project. We've built our live rig with the money that you've helped us raise. We've paid GoFundMes for our friends whose houses have burned down. Brian Wallace, shout out.
That's right.
Thanks to you guys. We've paid for 2 vinyl pressings this year.
Right, yep.
Thanks to the money.
It costs a pretty penny to get our music pressed onto vinyl, which we can then share gleefully with the world.
Yeah. So the money,
you guys funded that.
We do not make enough money to pay ourselves money. We save all the money, and all that money goes back into the project.
There was a time during
during
the early days of COVID where your guys' contributions were actually the difference between us being able to pay rent, like when we were in the first and second lockdown and everything. It was
wild. Yeah.
It was pretty crazy. And it was like seriously like a freaking miracle like if we didn't have this community, if we didn't have this band, if Nate had not had the foresight to set up the Patreon and to do all the due diligence of promoting it, like we wouldn't have been able to pay rent. It was that difference at that time. So
yeah, we certainly couldn't have just made music all through COVID and like built up our discography like we have. Like it was amazing. Yeah.
And so these days it's different. Thankfully, knocking on wood that it continues. We're blessed that we don't need to take payment from that. It all goes back into the project.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we love you guys. Please patreon.com/blackmarketdub. Please, like even if everybody that was watching this video joined for $1, it would make a gigantic difference in our lives. And for you guys, we'd get to make more music, which would be really cool, which is kind of all we want to do.
And if you're in a place where you can't afford it, that's all right. All of our music is still available for you to stream over on the Bandcamp. You can still just stream it without paying anything.
Yep.
And for those of you who can afford it, each one is also available there for purchase, so that you can download it, have it on a device. You can have it. There's a Bandcamp app, which it took me a long time to realize that there even is. So
rocks. It's actually great.
It's really good. Yeah. It's like a Spotify just of the Bandcamp things that you have, purchased and favorited and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I'm sorry if anybody who's donated money and loves the Michael Jackson thing. There's nothing we can do about it. It got taken down. We can't. It's out of our hands, and we can't re-upload it, or we're gonna lose the Bandcamp page. So.
Can we if
it's on YouTube still?
Okay, it's on YouTube. So
we're gonna find a way to we're gonna do some stuff. We'll tell you guys what we're gonna do. But
so we won't say it now.
I don't think we should say it now, but we're gonna do some stuff.
Let's brainstorm.
Yeah. Anyway, with that, Brandon. Also go to escapeatrecords.com.
Which Brandon? Wait, sorry, I talked over you because you said with that Brandon. Oh, which Brandon?
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 This Brandon, the one in front of me. I was gonna say, please go to escapeatrecords.com as well. That's the final thing.
Way more vinyl there. We don't play on all of it, but most of it is better than us. Yeah, so you should listen to it.
Yeah. Okay. With that, Brandon, do you have any mighty diamonds to bid us adieu with?
I do. Nate, I do.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. We love you. And remember, no man is an island. No man stands alone. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
We